There we are. Perfect. Alrighty, welcome to Red Pandacast episode 14. Oh, we're already on episode 14, and yeah, this one is not going to be a happy one. I can tell you that for nothing now. This is going to be quite a sad one if I'm going to be honest about it. It's not the cheeriest episode that we've done. That's just kind of the reality of the way things are. But with that in mind, you need to get this started. Why is that not showing the right thing? I was literally clicked on the thing. There we go, now it's showing the right thing. Wait, what? It was showing the right thing before. That's a weird one. Anyways, we are going to get into some topics today. And we're starting off with what happened over the weekend. So, as many of you might know or have heard, is about Rust. The production that is currently being worked on. That is starring Alec Baldwin. And obviously there was a horrible accident, shooting, incident. I don't want to say accident yet because it hasn't been ruled out as an accident. But there was an incident where what was meant to be a prop gun firing blanks shot live rounds, and holy crap, is that horrible on so many levels. That is just horrific. And we're gonna get into that now, which is just a mess within itself. Let's hop into it. So, yeah. Tragic details of what happened moments before Alec Baldwin fired their live weapon on Rust set have been revealed. Some more tragic details from the set of Rust has been revealed, including the exact location Alec Baldwin was aiming his gun and what happened in the moments before this tragedy. If you don't know, a prop gun was being used by Alec and was discharged and took the life of cinematographer Helena Hutchins. It also injured director Joel Souza, who was released from hospital. And according to an affidavit from Variety, from Joel and Alec, Alec was supposed to be handed a cold gun, meaning it had no live rounds or ammunition. So no live rounds of ammunition. The gun was first supposed to be checked by set's armorer Hannah Gutierrez Reed, with a second check of the gun's barrel by assistant director Dave Halls. Joel and Helena were standing directly behind the camera to check the angle of the gun during a rehearsal for a scene. After they noticed the shadow, they repositioned their gear and were speaking with Alec. Alec then went to demonstrate how he planned to pull out his weapon for the scene. TMZ reports. Sousa explained Baldwin pointed the gun directly at the camera and fired, and when he fired, the round that was in the gun struck him in the shoulder and Helena Hutchins in the chest. One cameraman told the police that he remembered Joel having blood on his person and Miss Hutchins speaking and saying she couldn't feel her legs. Joel recalls seeing Helena grab her midsection before Joel noticed he was bleeding. Court records would later reveal what happened. How Alec even had possession of the loaded weapon on the set. And that's what we're going to go into now. And this is the court document. So, the 63-year-old actor obviously discharged the weapon. And obviously, Helena Hutchins sadly died because of this. Alec Baldwin was handed a loaded weapon by an assistant director who indicated it was safe to use in the moments before the actor fatally shot a cinematographer, the outlet report. AP also says that the assistant director did not know the prop gun was loaded with live rounds. Oh my god. Court records showed that Helena was shot in the chest and Joel was standing behind her when she was wounded. Sheriff spokesman Juan Ruas said that Alec is permitted to travel and he's a free man. No immediate charges being filed against him. I didn't expect there would be charges filed against him. But yeah, this has been like an ongoing thing. But there were the first two articles, and that was from Just Jarred. Well, it goes on before that. This one's from the LA Times, and apparently there's been safety issues and misfires just days before this happened. So hours before actor Alec Baldwin, the incident happened, the camera operators and their assistants were frustrated by the conditions surrounding the low-budget film, including complaints about long hours, long commutes, and waiting for their paychecks. According to 3 people familiar with the matter, who were not authorized to comment. Safety protocol standards in the industry, including gun inspections, were not strictly followed on the Rust set near Santa Fe, the sources said. They said at least one of the camera operators complained that last weekend to a production manager about gun safety on set. And it doesn't get better from here, it actually gets worse. So 3 crew members who were present at the Bonanza Creek Ranch set on Saturday said they were particularly concerned about 2 accidental prop gun discharges. That's terrible. Baldwin's stunt double accidentally fired 2 rounds Saturday after being told that the gun was cold. Lingo for a weapon that doesn't have any ammunition, including blanks. 2 crew members who witnessed the episode told the LA Times. There should have been investigated into what happened, the crew member said. There were no safety meetings, there were no assurance that it wouldn't happen again. All the way to do was rush, rush, rush. And it's a system of failure. And a colleague was so alarmed about the misfires, they sent a text message to the unit production manager. We've now had 3 accidental discharges. This is super unsafe. According to a copy of the message received by the Times. And it goes on. I'm not going to read all of it because we have more. This isn't it. There's more. So, this is where it starts getting really, 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 really dodgy. If everything else wasn't bad enough, here's where it gets worse. The 24-year-old head armorer of Alec Baldwin's movie Rust told the podcast she almost didn't take a last job because she wasn't sure if she was ready. Now let me please restate that. The head armorer is 24 years old. Yeah. Let that sink in. The head armorer, the person who is in charge of weapons training, weapons safety, weapons inspection, dismantling the guns, putting the guns back together, checking them for damage, distinguishing between live rounds and blanks, making sure that the guns are safely locked away, that they're handled appropriately. Every single aspect and step was done by a 24-year-old. Now, I'm not going to say anything, right? Except, why would you hire someone so inexperienced? I mean that seriously. 24 years old is not old enough to be in the position of a head armorer. This is not a job to be messed with. This is not. This is a really serious job. When you have someone who's head armorer on a production like this, anywhere, when it's weapons training, you want someone with years and years of experience who knows weapons in and out like the back of their hand, who is capable of doing the job, frankly. And I'm sorry, but I don't care what qualifications you've got from whatever college or firearms range that says that you can handle a weapon. It's not the same as handling dozens upon dozens of weapons, right? It's not the same. It just isn't. And it's absurd that this actually occurred. It's absurd that someone who was this young was put in a position like this. That someone said, yeah, they're qualified. They have enough experience. Really? Because the maximum amount of experience they have, in reality, apart from if the parents, well, no, I'm not even going to say like your child don't have experience as a child. I don't care what education you get up to the age of 18. It's from there on that you start learning responsibility. In serious regards to stuff like this. And to get these kinds of qualifications. The maximum amount of time they had was 6 years. That's not long enough. That is not long enough in something so demonstrably important as this. But we're gonna go through this. So yeah, she expressed self-doubt in a podcast last month. Hannah Gutierrez-Reed said she wasn't sure if she was ready for her last job in the old wear. And yeah. So the head gun handler for the movie Rust, on whose set the actor Alec Baldwin fatally shot cinematographer. She had told the podcast that she obviously didn't make her last job in the movie Old because she wasn't sure if she was ready for it. Metro reported on Saturday. Gutierrez-Reed, the daughter of veteran Hollywood armorer Thiel Reed, said on the Voices of the West podcast that Rust was only his second film as a head armorer. Shouldn't have had the first film. Oh my god. It was a really badass way to start off a really long and cool career. Well, it ain't gonna be long now, is it? I'm sorry, but it ain't gonna be long now. Absurd. It was also my first time being head armorer as well, Gutierrez-Reed said. I almost didn't take the job because I wasn't sure if I was ready, but doing it, it went really smoothly. Gutierrez-Reed added that she was initially fearful of loading blanks. I think loading blanks was the scariest thing to me because I was like, oh, I don't know what? I don't know anything about it, she said. But she said her famous father helped train her up. What do you mean you don't know about loading blanks? What? Oh my god. An affidavit said Baldwin had been handed the gun by his assistant director, who indicated it was cold gun, aka no blanks and no bullets inside. And clearly it wasn't. It was not a cold gun because there was there was bullets inside. And this is the thing, we haven't had the report yet which says what was exactly inside. Whether it was a blank that we don't know what was inside. We haven't had that part yet. We're going to move on to the next one, though, which is from New York Post. So, the gun that was used in this incident had been used by crew off set for fun. Yeah. These weapons that are meant to be locked up all the time, unless specifically used in a scene, these weapons that are meant to be locked up 24/7, monitored, constantly, day or night, were taken out for some fun. So the gun that was fired by Alec Baldwin on the set movie Rust may have been loaded with live rounds when it was used for what was essentially target practice, TMZ reported. Multiple sources connected to the production of the film told TMZ that the gun was fired at off-the-clock gatherings, which could explain how a live round found its way into the gun's chamber. Another source who was on set told the outlet that when cops arrived, they found live ammo and blanks stored in the same area where the fatal mix-up could have occurred. You don't store blanks and live rounds together! Oh my god. Every time you read something, this is horrible. This is absolutely horrible. This is beyond incompetent. I'm sorry, but she's the head armorer. Gutierrez-Reed is the head armorer. Oh. So on Thursday, officials responded to all on set. Chaotic order from 911 reveals its expressive moments before. It's terrible. So Hannah Gutierrez-Reed once gave unchecked gun to 11-year-old actor report. This is from New York Post again, obviously. The inexperienced armorer in charge of weapons on the set of Alec Baldwin's movie Rust had given a gun to an 11-year-old actress without checking properly for safety, a report said. So yeah, Gutierrez-Reed's alleged misstep happened on the set of the upcoming Nicolas Cage film, The Old Wear, and temporarily halted filming, sources told the Daily Beast. She was reloading the gun on the ground where there were pebbles and stuff, one source told the outlet. We didn't see her check it. We don't know if something got in the barrel or not. Footage Reed reportedly handed the gun to a child actress, Ryan Kira Armstrong, forcing concerned crew members to intervene. The report said the gun was checked for barrel obstruction according to sources. She was a bit careless with the guns, waving it around every now and again, a source said. God, this just gets worse. This just gets worse. There were a couple of times she was loading the blanks and doing it in a fashion that we thought was unsafe. A Rust production source described Reed as inexperienced and green, to the outlet adding that there'd been 2 other incidents of accidental discharge, which obviously we went over. We'll move into the other one. Oh, and this is another one. 2 other Rust production sources questioned if Assistant Director Dave Halls followed proper procedure before the tragic incident. He's supposed to be our last line of defense, and he failed, as one source told the Daily Beast. He's the last person that's supposed to look at that firearm. And this is where we move into this part, which is another article, and this one is from CNN. So, the Assistant Director, Dave Hales, there have been complaints against the Assistant Director, including a disregard for safety protocols for weapons and pyrotechnics used, blocking fire lanes and exits, and instances of inappropriate, spicy behaviour in the workplace. Halls was identified in court documents as the assistant director who handed Alec Baldwin a prop firearm. Maggie Gall, an Ayatsa local 44 prop maker and licensed pyrotechnician, said in a statement to CNN that while working on Hulu's Into the Dark anthology series in February and May of 2019, Halls neglected to hold safety meetings and consistently failed to announce the presence of a firearm on set to the crew, as is protocol. The only reason the crew was made aware of a weapon's presence was because the assistant prop master demanded Dave acknowledge and announce the situation each day. Gull's statement reads. She adds that the prop master would announce each day when a gun would be required on camera, the disposition of that weapon, whether it was rubber/plastic replica, a non-firing option, or a cold functional but unloaded option, allowing anyone to inspect said weapon prior to bringing it to the set and present it to talent. The prop master frequently admonished Dave for dismissing talent without returning props, weapon included, and failing to make safety announcements. Now, I want to explain this. I want to explain this more in depth, right? Because I feel like I need to explain this to some extent. On a film set, or a TV set, regardless of where it is, whichever production you want to look at, weapons are strictly regulated. They are to be locked away at all times, except during a scene. They are to be recorded with serial numbers, checked in, checked out, i.e. X person checks out X weapon for scene with X actor. So this is the weapon, it's going to this actor for this scene, and then they get checked on the way back. This weapon was used by this actor, this is the condition it was in, this is what was fired, if anything was fired, this is what not was fired, this is the condition of the weapon, and they get stripped down again and put back together for use again. This is what's meant to happen every single time. As soon... Okay, also this. Actors are not given the weapon before the scene. They don't carry the weapon around with them all day. That doesn't happen. They're given the weapon literally just as the scene's about to start. Okay, scene starting in 30 seconds. This is the weapon. It is X weapon. This is what's in it. This is the state and condition. Here you go. It is safe to use. And then after a scene, the person who handed the weapon goes back to the actor. Scene is done. We need to take the weapon. And then they relog it, catalog it, everything. That is what's meant to happen. There are systems of failure here by 2 people. One being Gutierrez Reed and one being Dave Halls. and one or both is responsible in somewhere, either through incompetence or downright negligence or willful disregard. But one or both of them is responsible for this. And yeah, Goldstein also describes an instance where a licensed pyrotechnician had a medical emergency on set, and Halls asked her to continue with the shoot. I told him they're free to fill in whatever they want, but that there would be no fire or sparks, etc., until the medic, fire safety officer, and all my crewmates were safely back on set. All details. Halls did not respond to Sienna's request for comment Saturday night about Gold's allegations against him. So we continue on. Rookie armourer on the Baldwin set said best part of the job was proving how safe guns are. Hanny Gutierrez Reader, 24-year-old former model, told the Voices of the West podcast last month during about landing the pretty sweet gig with her first movie as head armourer in August. I think the best part about my job is just showing people who are normally kind of freaked out by guns how safe they can be and how they're not really problematic unless put in the wrong hands. Well, that's ironic, isn't it? It's a very ironic statement that you're saying guns are safe unless put in the wrong hands. Clearly, they were your hands, right? I think the best part about my... She said her dad, well-known Hollywood armourer, Thel Reed, gave her some direction growing up, but she figured out most of the job. She also admitted that loading blanks is the scariest thing to me. So yeah. But anyways, we go from that absolutely horribleness and Helena Hutchins' family, her husband, and everyone must be distraught by this. It's tragic and should never have happened. And while they are distraught,